Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to focus on your work, but your mind kept dragging you somewhere else? You sit with a book, but 5 minutes later, you're scrolling your phone. You promise yourself you'll work, but suddenly, you're lost in 1,000 random thoughts. You see, the hardest battle is not with the world outside, it's with the world inside your own head. And today, I'm going to tell you a story. A story of a boy named Russell, and how he learned the most powerful secret of life: control your mind, or your mind will control you. Russell was like many of us, full of dreams. He wanted success. He wanted respect. He wanted to make his family proud. But there was one problem: his mind was his worst enemy. Every time he sat down to study, his thoughts betrayed him. His eyes looked at the words on the page, but his mind was already somewhere else, thinking about cricket, friends, money, tomorrow, yesterday, everything except the present. When he tried to work, his phone buzzed. One notification turned into 5 minutes, 5 minutes turned into 30, and before he knew it, the day was gone. And at night, when the world was silent, guilt whispered in his ears. Why can't you just focus? Why can't you control yourself? Maybe you're not meant for greatness. Russell hated himself for it. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He just felt powerless, like his own mind was a wild horse, dragging him wherever it wanted. And maybe you felt that too. That no matter how hard you try, your thoughts keep betraying you. One morning, frustrated and restless, Russell wandered to the riverbank. He skipped breakfast. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He just walked, as if his feet were carrying the weight of his thoughts. There, under the shade of a giant banyan tree, sat an old monk. His eyes were closed, his breathing calm, his posture still. The chaos of the world seemed powerless against him. Russell stood there for a moment, staring. Something about that silence pulled him in. Finally, he walked up and said softly, "Master, I need help." The monk slowly opened his eyes. They were gentle, steady, like still water. "What troubles you, my child?" Russell's words poured out like a flood. "Master, I want to succeed. I want to study. I want to make something of myself. But I can't. My mind, it doesn't listen to me. I sit down to focus, but distractions pull me away. I fail again and again. I feel like my mind is my enemy." The monk listened quietly, nodding. Then, without saying a word, he picked up a clay cup, filled it with water, and handed it to Russell. "Take this glass of water," the monk said, "and walk around the temple 3 times. But remember, do not spill even a single drop." Russell was confused. What does this have to do with my problem? But he respected the monk, so he agreed. He held the glass with both hands and walked carefully. His eyes fixed on the water. His steps were slow, deliberate. Every movement controlled. By the time he finished, not a single drop had spilled. Proudly, he returned. "Master, I did it." The monk smiled. "Good. Now tell me, while you were walking, did you notice the birds singing? The villagers talking? The wind in the trees?" Russell frowned. "No, master. I didn't notice anything. I was too focused on the water." The monk leaned closer and whispered, "That is the secret. You controlled your attention. You controlled your mind. And when you did, distractions lost their power." For the first time, Russell felt something shift inside him. The problem wasn't the noisy world outside. The problem was his lack of control within. That night, Russell lay in bed, unable to sleep. The monk's words kept echoing. "Control your attention. Control your mind." It sounded so simple, but could he really do it? The next day, Russell tested himself. He sat with his books, determined to focus. For the first 10 minutes, he was sharp. But then, his mind started to wander. His phone buzzed. His hand reached for it automatically. But this time, he stopped. He remembered the glass of water. He remembered how he ignored everything else when his attention was fixed. Slowly, he pushed the phone aside and forced himself back to the book. It was hard. His mind screamed for escape. His thoughts fought like wild horses. But every time they strayed, he pulled them back. Again and again. At first, he lasted only 15 minutes. Then 20. Then an hour. And with each small victory, he felt stronger. But make no mistake, it wasn't easy. Some days, he won. Some days, he lost. There were mornings he woke up motivated and nights he went to bed disappointed. But the difference was, he didn't quit. He told himself, if I give up, my mind wins. If I keep going, I win. So, he kept going. He created rules for himself. No phone while studying. Wake up early before the noise of the world. Write down his goals and stick to them. And day by day, his focus sharpened. The wild horse inside him began to obey. Months passed. And slowly, people began to notice. Russell wasn't the same anymore. He was calmer, more disciplined. His friends teased him. Russell, you've become so serious. Don't you get bored? He just smiled. I used to be a prisoner of my mind. Now, I'm free. He wasn't perfect. Distractions still tempted him. But now, he had control. Instead of being pulled in every direction, he chose where his mind would go. And with that control came results. He finished tasks he once abandoned. He studied with clarity and remembered more than ever. He became consistent, and slowly, his life began to rise. One evening, he returned to the riverbank. The monk was there, just as calm as before. This time, Russell's steps were steady. His heart was calm. Master, he said, bowing, I understand now. My mind used to control me. But now, I am learning to control it. And because of that, I feel stronger, freer, more alive. The monk smiled. Remember, Russell, the mind is like fire. Left uncontrolled, it burns everything in its path. But when you master it, that same fire can cook your food, warm your home, and light your way through the darkness. Russell felt those words sink deep into his soul. He realized the truth: success, peace, and happiness were never outside. They were always waiting inside, hidden behind the noise of an uncontrolled mind. And from that day, whenever distractions tempted him, Russell whispered to himself, I am the master of my mind. My mind is not the master of me. And that, my friend, is the story of Russell. But really, it's the story of all of us. Because here's the truth. If you don't control your mind will control you. Your thoughts can be your prison, or your power. They can chain you, or free you. They can destroy your life, or build it. So ask yourself, who's in charge right now, you, or your wandering mind? Master your attention. Master your focus. Master your mind. Because once you do, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Control your mind, and you will control your life. And that's Russell's story, a reminder that your greatest power lies within your own mind. If you can master your thoughts, you can master your life. So start today. Focus, take control, and become the master of your own destiny. If this story inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message.